We're here at the Galaxy Note 3 launch in Dubai, and this is your host Kevin Sebastian with our mobile phone specialist Abdullah Zaki. So Abdullah, we heard a lot about the phone and that the Galaxy Gear is not actually a smartwatch but an actual add-on to the phone.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, to be honest with you, I prefer the phone alone, without the smartwatch. Although we can't really call it a smartwatch, can we?
Yeah.
The Galaxy Gear. But let's start off by talking about the phone. Yeah. So the design. Well, what's improved over the last version, or what's different? It has a 5.7-inch Full HD display, and it's a Super AMOLED version, typically, as opposed to 5.5 inches HD display on last year's version. And they managed to fit that larger screen into the same size, so that's quite impressive.
Considering that it is a larger screen, so how is it going to affect, like when you're holding the phone? Does it actually show?
Well, no, not really.
No.
If you've used the Galaxy Note 2, it has the exact same size, so you won't feel that much.
So when you use the S Pen, did you notice any sort of lag or anything of that sort?
I didn't notice any lag, and what we need to point out is that it comes in two versions. So there is a 4G LTE version and there's a 3G version. Mm-hmm. The 4G LTE version comes in a Snapdragon 800 processor, clocked at 2.3 gigahertz, 3 GB of RAM. Obviously, it's a quad-core processor, while the 3G version is an octa-core, Samsung's own Exynos processor. It has two processors, 4 + 4, 8. The high-performance ones are 1.9 gigahertz, and the one for battery saving are 1.7 gigahertz.
In terms of battery, when we were in the press conference earlier on today, I noticed that there was a question thrown out to the person, and they didn't have an official estimate as to how much battery will be on the device. So what would you think?
I think that I would estimate, based on the numbers, it has, first of all, a 3,200 milliamp battery over last year's 3,100. That's 100 milliamps more. So the screen is bigger, it has more resolution. So I think that maybe we can get about the same numbers as the Note 2. Mm-hmm. And the Note 2 has an impressive battery life on its own.
Okay, coming to the Galaxy Gear. Obviously now we understand it's just an actual add-on to the phone, to the Note. So that it actually has a camera built in. So wouldn't this raise privacy concerns, especially in the region like this?
It might, but based on what Samsung said, that they checked with the authorities and no problems were found. Mm-hmm. And let me just clarify why it's an add-on and not a smartwatch. So it has its own processor, first of all, its own interface, but it syncs with your Note 3 or any Samsung. I think the S4 as well, so you can sync them and you can receive calls and you can make calls from the watch as well. So why is it not a smartwatch? It's because it has its own processing power. It's not a mirror of what's on the phone.
What kind of interface does the phone use actually? Because I noticed it was an Android, but I'm not quite sure which version was it.
It's Android's own TouchWiz, and it's running on the latest version of Android, which is 4.3.
Okay.
Jelly Bean. One last thing I want to talk about is the design. Of course, they removed the rounded corners found on the previous generation. It's a bit more squared off, which I think looks nicer. And the back is a new big thing this year. So it has fox leather with stitched edges on the side. Well, to be honest, I was a bit skeptical at first, but having hold the phone and used it for a bit, it's not so bad. Actually, it feels quite nice. Much nicer than last year's.
They actually have a lot of cover varieties as well. Like they have different colors this time, and they have designer branded covers
as well. Yeah.
So it's something that you should look at. Samsung's trying to target another demographic altogether.
I think they're trying to target a bit fashion conscious audience, I guess, mm-hmm. with the Note 3's back leather cases, where you can actually change the case for really funky colors as well as change it completely to metallic texture cover based on what they say.
Did you feel comfortable holding the S Pen around this time around?
Yeah, and one big thing about the S Pen is that you can actually put it into the phone this time without in any direction. So last year's model had like an edge coming out, so you had to place it in one specific way. But this one, you can place it any other way without having to look.
Great.
So that's pretty cool.
All right, great. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, so stay tuned for more in-depth coverage as we cover the Galaxy Note 3 and the Gear as soon as we get it. Keep watching Mizany.com.